CNN digital correspondent and editor-at-large, covering family career life. She's a mom of 2 girls and lives in Manhattan. Read her columns and follow her at CNN Parents and on Twitter. And let's go with the story now. When you hear the story of a 2-year-old boy believed to be the youngest person in the world ever to have bariatric surgery, it's very easy to point a judgment finger, as one mom said to me. Wasn't there anything else the parents could do besides such a serious surgery at such a young age, parents will ask. But then you hear the story of 18-year-old Maria Caprigo, who weighed 443 pounds when she was just 14 years old. I was gaining 40 pounds a year, said Caprigno, in between classes at Bridgewater State University in Massachusetts. They told me unless something drastic happens, I would not see my 18th birthday. Listening to Caprigno, it becomes clear that the decision by the baby's parents, the boy's parents, and what they did or did not do before the surgery is not so black and white. And as parents grapple with the option of early surgical intervention for childhood obesity, they also must examine whether it's their child's health on the line or if appearance and social standards are influencing these decisions. The boy from Saudi Arabia weighed 79 pounds by the age of 2 and suffered from severe sleep apnea, which caused him to stop breathing while asleep. After 2 different attempts to control the boy's weight through dieting reportedly failed, doctors decided to perform what's called a laparoscopic sleeve gastrectomy, which involves permanently removing 60 to 85% of the stomach and restricting food take. Dr. Jennifer Shue, a pediatrician in Atlanta, said such a procedure should be a last resort and only after close monitoring and dieting have been attempted and proven to be unsuccessful. Without knowing the particular case, she said that if doctors had not performed the surgery, this boy could have faced physical problems such as pain, injuries, and bowed legs, heart disease, diabetes down the road, and even death from lack of oxygen caused by sleep apnea. I think what the doctors are trying to say is this kid may have not lived without the surgery or without reversing that weight gain, said Shue. She said the current recommendation is to wait until the child is done growing or close to it, which is around 13 or 14, 13 for girls and 15 for boys, before considering bariatric surgery. Caprigno had such surgery 3 years ago, and she was just 14. To her knowledge, at the time, she was one of the youngest people ever to have it. It was an immensely difficult decision for her parents, who were both morbidly obese. She said her dad was also had a bariatric surgery, still weighs over 400 pounds. Well, I'll tell you, I could never understand it, and I don't think anybody else can, and how badly this overweight situation could be unless you're actually the one that's overweight. It's easier for us. It's real easier for us to just say, hey, they should diet. Why don't you just diet? Stop eating so much food. Don't do that. Run, exercise, and whatever else these people come up with and ideas they have to get you to lose weight. Well, I'll tell you, it's not that easy. Being myself overweight, not as badly as people were just discussing, I've been trying for years to lose weight, and I'm I'm not big on exercise, but I cut down on my eating quite a bit. And I'll tell you, that's just not enough. Not eating just doesn't do it. There could be a lot of issues as to why I'm not losing weight, but I'm almost positive it's not because I'm overeating. As a matter of fact, recently doctors said they found a bacteria in a person's stomach that if you don't have enough of it, you gain weight. First time I ever heard of that, but it's possible. There's all sorts of bacteria growing in your body, and some are good for you and some are bad. This is good for you. You don't gain weight as much if you have this particular bacteria. Maybe one day they'll find a way of injecting to people, or having them ingest it, whatever, so they can get that bacteria, which will help them lose weight. But from now, the only way to lose weight is probably something like Weight Watchers, exercising, or last resort, surgery. Doctors don't take surgery, that solution, so it's hard to make that decision to get your surgery. Doctors don't recommend it in the beginning. They make you go through a lot of different things. You have to take some well, I don't know if you still do, but you used to have to be interviewed by psychologists, and you have to make a real commitment, because once they do that surgery, you just can't eat the same foods you ate. You get sick more often with your stomach if you eat something that's not on your list. It's a lifetime commitment to changing your life completely. And some people can do it and some can't. And some people, even when they have the surgery, it reverses and they gain weight again, and they just couldn't handle it. As everybody probably knows, this show is called Trucking to Heaven. And this show was started originally on the ULC network radio show, or radio station, I guess. And my show was called Trucking to Heaven. And the idea behind it was to speak to people about different experiences, truckers including, and hopefully truckers, that happened to them that were interesting, that let's say that they were miraculous, or they saw miracles, or different things that they may have seen on the truckers seeing on the road, or anybody else that happened to see something of interest. Call in and talk about it. And I guess about 4 weeks ago, I stopped broadcasting on the ULC network. They decided that I was not fit to be what they call a reverend, or reverend, I guess, or independent Catholic priest. They claimed that that I was an alcoholic and unstable, and the reasoning for that was I disagreed with the person that runs the church, or organization, or whatever you call it, because it's not a real church by no means. The gentleman who runs it, as I found out later, has quite an interesting background, including, it would appear, felonies, felonies, what else do you have? Bankruptcies, domestic violence cases he had. He claims it's not him, but I believe it is, because we've seen a few background checks, and it's definitely the gentleman that runs the church. And the minute I question his background, And I was questioning why I should continue with him because of the way he's been acting and the way he is. He said, he says, that's it, you're done with the church, get out. You left, you're gone. Tear up your paperwork. And that was it. So I went ahead and I fought him, and I went into the Better Business Bureau, and I put in a little complaints against him, because he was always saying how good his AAA rating was. It was an A rating, which is actually a pretty good rating for a business. He wasn't a member of the AAA, but because of the number of complaints about him, and he was rated A. When I was done with him, now it dropped to B right away. Not so good, huh, Reverend Michael? Anyway, so now he can't say that he's an A rated in Better Business Bureau. Anyway, that's besides the point. So I decided, and also I guess Mark was with me also at the time, and what should we do? And we decided we're going to go on. Take trucking to heaven on the road, as they say. So now we're broadcasting on our own from Spreaker, and hopefully if our audiences keep increasing and catch up to what they were when I was with the other network, because I did have quite a nice following, we're going to try to get into iHeart Radio, starting a big program and in talk radio. So it should be quite interesting if we make it. And we'll see what happens. Only time will tell. Well, anyway, so that's that with all the different things we were discussing with my background and everything else. And now I'm looking to join up with another group possibly, or somebody else, or form my own group of listeners, loyal listeners, and then we can go ahead and possibly start another show dedicated more to the topics of the group that we form. But that's not for a little while yet. Right now we have to just improve our show, increase our audiences, and most of all, wish everybody the best. My friend Mark, my friend Jeff, and all my other friends who I am not going to mention right now, because being on a broadcast, unless I get an okay from them, I would rather not mention anybody else. Also, I guess there's Dan, he knows about it, and a few other people, but let's just leave it at that for now. Oh yes, and also there's Eric. I forgot about Eric. There's another gentleman who has a quite a good broadcasting voice, and he's always had an interest in broadcasting. So what we're trying to do is get him lined up so maybe he can start up a show or be a guest host once in a while here. He has an interesting background. He lives in southern New Jersey. He lives by Seaside Heights, where they had the bad fires. And we hope to hear from him in the next show, too. Well, looks like I'm not getting any calls tonight. So what I'm going to do is play an excerpt right now of a song that's actually, when I was on the other network, it was my how should I put it? My